Okay, let's kick off with maybe a relatable nightmare. Imagine you're job hunting, right? Polishing the resume, only to find out the top Google hit for your name is it's basically telling HR you're unemployable. And it's because your roommates, the ones you share a fridge with, are secretly running this whole campaign against you.
Yeah, it's like thinking you're in a shared apartment. But surprise, you're actually the unwilling star of their very own, very mean reality show. So today we are absolutely diving into one of the, frankly, weirdest and pettiest roommate stories from Reddit. It involves two college students who started a secret, let's call it gossip pod, all about their third roommate.
Right. We've got the original posts, the dates, the comments, the whole digital paper trail. And our mission today, basically figure out what actually happened, look at how things got so toxic so fast, and honestly just marvel at how this level of drama could escalate in just, what, a few months? Buckle up.
Yeah, it's quite the ride. And we're starting right at the deep end. Because the first real shot fired wasn't just, leaving dirty dishes out. Oh no. This was straight up career sabotage. Kicks off July 9th, 2019.
So our main person here, the user, she's a 20-year-old student. Let's just call her OOP, original online poster. She's trying really hard to get internships, jobs, and she spots something seriously wrong online.
Yeah, the number one search result when you Google her name, not her real LinkedIn, not her school profile, it's this fake LinkedIn profile, clearly designed just to tank her chances.
And the detail here is just, wow, it wasn't sloppy. They grabbed her actual profile picture, but then they distorted it, changed it to make her look, and this is her word, ugly.
Okay, hold on. The effort involved there, they didn't just find some random bad photo. They took her professional picture, messed with it, and put it on a fake career site. That's dedicated malice.
Exactly. And then they filled it with junk info. Totally wrong majors listed. And get this, a made-up, really low SAT score. Like, specifically putting that in there. This wasn't a joke. It feels like digital character assassination aimed right at her job prospects.
The calculation is what gets me. They knew HR does quick Google searches. So they didn't just spread rumors. They planted this digital bomb right where it would hurt most. That takes planning. It takes commitment, a real commitment to being awful.
And everyone in the comments section immediately jumped to the same conclusion OOP did. Who else puts in that kind of work? It had to be someone close, someone stewing in resentment.
Absolutely. No random troll is spending their afternoon doctoring your headshot and inventing test scores. It points directly to someone sharing her living space, someone invested enough to actively try and ruin her future.
Okay, so keep that level of premeditated nastiness in mind. Because just 11 days later, on July 20th, 2019, we get what seems like a totally separate, almost mundane issue, the TV argument.
Ah, yes, the TV. This bit is great because it's like a little preview of the roommate's whole attitude. It's a tiny conflict that reveals this massive sense of entitlement they've got going on.
So OP's posts online asking if she's in the wrong. She found a cheap 24-inch TV. Key detail. It was for her room. She wanted some privacy, for gaming. Seems totally reasonable for a college student, right?
Completely standard. But her roommates, they immediately just assumed it was for the living room, their reasoning. Because they watch, and I love this direct quote, a lot of reality TV. And crucially, they hadn't chipped in any money for it at all.
They just expected this new thing to appear for their use. Like, her purchase automatically became a communal asset.
And if you connect the dots here, you see their whole dynamic laid bare. They saw OOP as the provider, right? She handles the bills, sorts the lease, buys stuff, and they just assume her things are their things too. It's this passive consumption expectation, and it perfectly sets up what comes next, which is way, way bigger.
Which lands just 2 days after the TV spat. July 22nd, this is the big one. Discovering the secret gossip pod.
And the evidence is just so classically messy. It wasn't a leaked text or anything digital. Nope. The smoking gun was actual physical mail, a postcard addressed to the roommates, found by OOP.
And adding a layer of just perfect irony, the postcard was from a friend who was away at a religious camp.
You can't make this stuff up.
Yeah.
The friend at religious camp writes, apparently having a great time how the podcast update really made her day, and that she actually laughed listening to the parts about OOP's life.
Ugh, that word laughed. It's chilling. Because the postcard hinted at what they were sharing on this podcast. Really personal stuff. Details about OOP's eating disorder, her mental health struggles, and their delightful opinion that her new boyfriend was, quote, interesting, which, we know what that means. Awkward.
So they weren't just bitching amongst themselves. They were packaging her vulnerabilities up as entertainment content. And the delivery method, a postcard, sent through the mail to a shared house. from religious camp.
It makes you wonder, right? Was it just incredible carelessness or was it like passive-aggressive flexing? Did they secretly want her to find it? It feels almost like a clumsy warning shot, doesn't it? And immediately, OOP and the internet commenters go into overdrive about legal options. Can she sue? Is this defamation? And then the HiPath thing came up because one roommate worked in a medical lab setting.
Right, the HiPath angle, that got debated endlessly, but it's mostly a red herring here. People wanted legal teeth because health info is involved, which is understandable. But IPI-TEPA protects info shared between patients and healthcare professionals in a professional context. It generally doesn't cover roommates gossiping about stuff they learned socially, even health stuff, unless maybe that lab roommate improperly accessed records, which wasn't the case here.
So yeah, the legal path seemed like a dead end, and that's when OOP realized her main problem. She was stuck. Financially, logistically.
Yeah, she was in a tough spot precisely because she was the responsible one. She had signed the lease for the next year way back in October, months before this blew up. Plus, she was the one whose name was on the utility bills, the gas, the electric.
And not just that, she owned a lot of the shared stuff in the apartment. You know, the couch, the decent kitchen things, the comfy stuff. So the irony is, her being organized and responsible actually trapped her with these people.
And this is where the online discussion really shifted, from what happened to what should she do. Opinions got really divided. Some people were harsh, criticizing OOP for being like wildly unconfrontational. But others strongly pushed back, saying, look, confronting people like this, these energy vampires, it just gives them what they want, fuel.
That's such a key point. You really have to read the room, or rather read the bully. If their whole goal is to provoke a reaction, to create drama, then giving them that reaction is basically letting them win.
Exactly. There was this really sharp comment suggesting these roommates were classic energy vampires.
Right.
The type whose lives are so boring they have to stir shit up to feel anything.
Yeah.
It suggests that OP's relative stability and happiness might have actually been provoking them.
When you look at everything together, the fake LinkedIn, wanting the TV, broadcasting her private struggles, it really doesn't seem like it was about specific disagreements. It feels more like pure resentment. Envy.
Resentment's often the engine behind this kind of sustained personal bullying, isn't it? She was managing her life.
Yeah.
Handling money, had decent stuff, had a boyfriend, was trying to build a career. She might have represented everything they felt they lacked or weren't achieving.
Yeah.
And that difference became the target.
Okay, so financially stuck, confrontation maybe isn't the best move. How does she get out?
Well, she went for the quiet exit strategy,
Yeah.
which honestly is often way more powerful than a big showdown. Fast forward about 4 months, we get the final update, November 17, 2019. It's wonderfully low-key.
The short version, she moved out, found 2 new roommates, and this is critical, got a cat from Craigslist who, quote, I love to death. Getting a pet is like the ultimate self-care move after something like this.
The cat is definitely part of the win column, but the real masterstroke, the ultimate petty perfection, her new apartment location. She moved into a place directly across the street from where the old dramatic roommates ended up living.
Oh my God, that's not just moving on. That's like weaponized moving on. She called it fun, passive-aggressive BS. Didn't need a fight, just needed to exist happily right in their line of sight. Genius.
It's strategic emotional preservation. She never confronted them about the podcast or the postcard, decided it just wasn't worth her energy, wouldn't achieve anything except maybe boosting their egos. She just left, got out clean, found her peace,
Yeah.
and, the cat.
And by her account, life got way better. Still with the boyfriend, Mr. Interesting. Getting better grades. Happy cat. The podcast itself was never found online, which makes people think maybe it was just like dramatic voice notes they called a podcast to their friend.
Which makes the whole thing even more pathetic, really. And that's the real victory lap, isn't it? The antagonists might think they won by not getting yelled at, but OOP won by getting peace, stability, and the quiet satisfaction of living well right across the street. She didn't play their game, she just moved to a better one.
So, to recap, we saw a fake LinkedIn designed for maximum career damage, a truly bizarre fight over a TV exposing massive entitlement, and a postcard from religious camp giving rave reviews to laughing at someone's personal trauma. Wild.
Honestly, the big takeaway here might just be basic operational security for terrible people. If you were going to dedicate your time to being an awful roommate and documenting it, maybe, just maybe, don't use the U.S. Postal Service for your fan mail. Pick something a little more private.
Seriously, maybe the real lesson is Next time your friend casually mentions their podcast that sounds suspiciously like long voice notes, might be worth asking who or what they're actually talking about. And hey, probably not a bad idea to Google yourself once in a while. You never know who's out there trying to sabotage you with a fake SAT score.